That will do, my friends. It's finished at Deepdale. Preston North End 0. Watford 1. We love to do it, don't we? The classic 1-0, and it's happened again. And I got my prediction spot on because I said it would be a 1-0 win with a goal from Pedro. And he scored the goal from the spot very early on in that second half, gave us that lift, and we just saw it out. We saw it out pretty comfortably. Really, it was nervy towards the end, but generally Preston weren't that much of a threat, and we weren't, to be honest, either. But ultimately, we had the chances to at least get the shots on target. We didn't take them, but then we were getting in the right positions, and we won the penalty from it. So, yeah, it's 3 points on the board once again. Let's keep on getting these massive wins to get closer to that promotion spot. And it's another clean sheet. Daniel Bachmann is doing absolute bits at the minute. I brought him in this week in fantasy, and I went and benched him because I thought that the Swansea goalkeeper would do better against Nottingham Forest. Well, we'll see about that. But the main thing is, we captained Joao Pedro. Yes, boys. He got the winner from the spot. But let's review the whole game, including that first half and then the second. So, yeah, it was a game you saw and thought, we really need to win this. It's a winnable one. But ultimately, away from home, we know that our form is very, very poor. And generally, Preston, they're pretty poor as well. But they did get a good result in the last game against Blackburn. And ultimately, defensively, they're quite stubborn, Preston. But we eventually found a way to break it down. So the game started off where it was a bit of a frustrating one. You know, we weren't winning those physical battles in the middle of the park. Preston defending in numbers, getting a lot back and struggling to help us to basically find space and work an opportunity. So it was pretty frustrating, it's got to be said. There was a shot from Will Hughes, which was after Sarr laid it off, and then the shot was deflected over. And then also a cross was hit straight at Bachmann by Bark Husen. And the main two chances of that first half were basically the first two chances for Ched Evans. The first one really should have scored. I don't know how he didn't. It got far too easily in behind our defence, and there was a gap. He gets the ball, he tries to bring it down and volley it, and Bachmann comes out. Whether he distracts him or not, I don't know. I just think that, you know, the forward there just lost his bearings and got a bit flustered and missed the shot over the bar. Massive let off for the Golden Boys. And then he had another chance, did the forward, when there was just a bit of dilly-dallying from Sierralta, failing to clear his lines and failing to really get a toe on the ball. And it fell a couple of times for Ched Evans, and he got the ball and shot wide, where he really should have at least tested Bachmann. So, yeah, that was a stroke of luck, really. But we had to respond to that. We started to get more possession. We did dominate in terms of possession, but again, with Watford, it's like we've hit the reset button after that Bristol City game. We've kind of forgotten about the Bristol City game almost and gone back to how we were playing before that, pretty much most of the game this season. And it's not pretty football, but it's getting results. So if you ultimately get promoted through that, you're not going to be complaining. But whether we can sustain it is the question. We have got a lot of goals through penalties this season, but to be fair, we haven't got a lot of away wins. So it was a much needed result at the end of the day. On Pancake Day, we got the right result, and it was enough. And it was a juicy one. So yeah, ultimately we used our midfield quite well today. It was interesting that we had obviously Cleverley and Chalobah playing, but we also had the front three once again of Sema, Pedro and Ismail Assar. And today it was Hughes that was actually playing in a more drop back position, which allowed Cleverley and Chalobah to roam forward, which was all right. Didn't really do much in the game, but ultimately it wasn't a nightmare either. But we were using our width quite well in that first half, spraying the ball out and trying to get balls in. But ultimately we do struggle with crossing, and it was really, really poor. A lot of misplaced passes in that first half, and it was just one of those frustrating Tuesday night games under the lights that you thought, is it just going to not fall for us today? But ultimately, we did spray a few good passes out, but it's always the final product with us. As soon as we, do the build-up, it's looking promising, and then we get it into the box and we mess it up. And cleverly had the ball, and actually, no, it was cleverly done, not with cleverly, so ignore that. But basically, Ismail Assar got the ball and shot, but it was a tough chance because it came from a corner on the edge of the box, and it just bounced up to him, and he went for the shot on the volley, but it was well over the bar, and we didn't actually get a shot on target in that first half. So, a bit of a shame that we couldn't really find the space and find the inspiration to actually test their goalie. But it is what it is. Tonight we just maybe not quite on it, but you need to be on it most weeks to get promoted, and I'm hoping that's going to be still the case. But Femenia, we always know he's so good going forward and bombing down that right-hand side, and once again, looking so good, whipping in those balls. At times, the men in the box weren't ready for it, but they're still good deliveries, and running down the side with a lot of determination and energy. We didn't show much determination today as we did against Bristol City. We weren't really taking it by the scruff of the neck, but we did enough to get the 3 points, so am I not very pleased by that? Possibly, but ultimately we're getting the job done. So, yeah, Pedro had a header that was just wide in that first half, but never really got the purchase on it and kind of had to duck under it. And we just didn't look quite as fluid as against Bristol City, but, not many teams will be when they have such an amazing one, 6-0 thrashing. But still, you'd have expected better from us, really. And we were just looking quite blunt and quite rigid in our attacking, but you hoped that eventually something would come and something would produce a chance in the game. With those misses chance for Ched Evans, maybe we rode our luck a bit, but ultimately we'll take that. And you just thought at the end of that half we just needed to improve in the final third, and it was the same old story. So second half came about, and we thought, right, let's go. And it started very, very well. We got our penalty. Now, whether this is a foul from Barkhuizen, you can debate it. I think it is. It's a soft one. You've seen them given. You've seen some of them not given. But I think maybe Barkhuizen does take away Pedro's legs and basically stop him from going forward. But ultimately, Pedro did well to win it himself, the penalty. And I loved how he was not thinking about it twice, went straight over briskly to get the ball and take it himself. And all the Watford players didn't really seem like there was much debate about who was going to take it. So it's good to see that we've got a collective squad trust in Pedro. And obviously I was absolutely buzzing because I had him as captain in my Gaffer.io fantasy team. But ultimately he was, justified for getting the penalty and taking it himself because he tucks it away very, very nicely. The penalty was a good one, strong one. Not, of course, in the middle like Troy Deeney often does, but actually instead just into that corner, into the side netting where it was just out of reach of the goalie. And ultimately, it's another goal for Joao Pedro in what's been a very good first full season, or at least it will be by the end of it. So, yeah, happy with that. To get the first goal is always massive. We didn't have a lot of chances and a lot of shots on goal other than that penalty, but we'll take it, An away goal. Woohoo! We don't get many of those. And even with Troy Deeney out the side, we're still scoring penalties. So it's good to see. It is good to see. The most away goals for us this season have been from penalties, which is not ideal. But it's ultimately showing that we're getting players in the right position to cause problems for the defenders, and they're having to make fouls to do something about it. So, it's not luck really; it's just earning those penalties in the right places at the right times. So we'll take that, I guess. And then there was this little period of sustained pressure for Preston. Again, not really testing Backman, but just getting the balls into the box and maybe a few nervous headers from Watford. But there was a header from the defender, Lindsay, and it was a very good cross in from a corner from Johnson. And it really was unmarked, and it was a bit of gilt-edged opportunity, but it was far out, and he just headed well over from that cross in. So yeah, maybe a bit of a one that Preston will be kicking themselves about, but we're not complaining. And Kiko, of course, running away and looking fast on the break, but he unfortunately shot just wide. Decent opportunity there, but it didn't quite go on target. And then a great effort from a free kick, whistled just over the bar from Watford's Tom Cleverley. When will the wait end? I don't know, because whenever we've had free kicks, we just look so useless. Ever since Alman Abdi's left the club, we've just not had a set-piece taker, and we haven't scored from a free kick since, one of those years. So basically, it's been about 5 years wait, and it goes on, basically. But if Zinkernagel can start a few more games and maybe take a few more set pieces, then maybe we can do it. But it wasn't close. It was close. It wasn't far from Cleverley. Just over the bar. Hit it with a lot of power, but it did just ripple the top of the net. The referee today, I thought generally had quite a good game. He was pretty card shy, it's got to be said. Giving a yellow card for Cleverley, I think it was for dissent or something quite small. But don't think he gave any Preston yellows, as far as I'm aware, where there could have probably been some. But it is what it is. He made the right judgment with the penalty, and also a few times made the right advantage. If there wasn't any, he'd bring it back for a free kick. So fair play, mate. And then on the far hand side, on the right, we had the good delivery to deal with from Anthony Gordon, the player from Everton that arrived there. A very good signing, and he's going to get a good delivery in, and he whipped it in really well. And it was Emil Rees that was climbing to have a shot, and he actually just shot wide with the kind of side foot. Really, it's a chance begging for Preston that we were lucky to not concede from. Very close on to the goal, and he's probably got to hit the target, but for us, we'll take it. Flashes wide, and a bit of nervy Watford defending was how the game kind of ended off with. We didn't have many chances to break forward. When we did, we looked okay, but ultimately weren't massively clinical. But we just kind of got all hands to the pump and try and see out this game with some defending. But with their crossing, we didn't have too much to deal with. Bachmann was fairly comfortable in the game. And then we have a chance where it was a good ball from Philip Zinkernagel. And it's for the new substitute in the game, Dan Gosling. And just for a split second, I thought he was going to get his first Watford goal, because he got into the box in a really nice position and just pirouetted and trying to get the shot away. But unfortunately, it was cleared just in time for Preston and out for a corner. And then a Hughes ball in, and actually from another chance, it was Will Hughes that tried to initiate the chance, and we were trying to get the ball to one of our players, but it actually bounced favourably for us, going in, dribbling over to the line, and the player for Preston, called Hughes, was the one that actually cleared it away from danger. So unfortunate there to not get the goal, but it was probably going to be a scrappy one anyway. And I think we were just starting towards the end of the game, trying to draw the intensity out of that game and get an ugly win. And that's ultimately what it was. We frustrated Preston. We just tried to stop their attacking play there. Forward attacking wasn't that promising. A few times just really skewed some shots wide and didn't really get the right delivery and the right pass in the final third. But neither did we. But ultimately, we'd see it out fairly professionally, and we could have even scored more. There was a chance on the break for Phillips Zinkernagel to slip in the substitute Stipe Perica and to release, unleash the forward there with a chance running through, but it's a poor pass from Zinkernagel. He's really got to find his man better there, just too casual, and unfortunately didn't reach Perica. But ultimately, it's a win. It's another 3 points on the board, and we go to the next game on Friday under the lights against Derby. It's going to be a tough game. Wayne Rooney's been improving their results recently, and Colin Kazim Richards has been in great form, so we need to keep him quiet. But it's wins, and that's going to give the squad confidence. Hopefully we can keep that momentum going, and hopefully put it in a bit more of an attractive attacking display than tonight. But, you know, when you're not having the shots and you're not having the skills and the trickery, the result is the next thing that you want. Well, it's really the first thing you want, but ultimately that's what we dealt with today. We dealt with the game, and it's another chance to basically keep that run going. So we'll take the 3 points and we move on to Derby on Friday. So thanks for watching my match review of Preston North End 0, Watford 1, and João Pedro, the Brazilian, once again strikes gold. What an absolute legend he is. Teenager, getting the goals and getting me that correct scoreline prediction. But we move to the next game. Come on, you Horns! Let's just, come on, get back to that kind of intensity that we played against Bristol City. But still, a win's a win. You love to see it. See you later.